What's up, guys? This is Sam Talks About Games, and today I'm going to be talking about how I don't think that Nintendo's going to fumble with the Switch 2. As we all know, Nintendo's had a hard time going to from successful console to successful console. If we look at, Wii to Wii U, that was a complete failure. Um, DS to 3DS, 3DS wasn't nearly as successful as DS, and it was also the worst selling handheld they ever produced. NES to Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo wasn't quite as big of a downgrade, but it still did sell less than NES. Although that was a semi-successful transition, they still had the third-party support and all that, and I think they were still doing fine. But yeah, my point is, Nintendo's never really went from success to success. They've never been able to do that. And it's got people thinking, hey, what's going to happen with Switch 2? Is this going to be success to failure again? Is Switch 2 going to sell like 20 million, 30 million? And I am here to answer that question. I don't think it's possible for Switch 2 to flop. And I will explain why. So, think about it. Nintendo has all their resources shifted into one console. One console has all of their attention. For one, they're going to be very good with the game output for Switch 2. There will be games coming out every month, if not almost every month, like 10 games a year. That's what I'm expecting going into Switch 2. We're also under different leadership. Shintaro Furukawa is he's more of a financial guy rather than a creative guy. And being a more financial guy, being an accountant, he wants to make sure that Switch 2 is not a flop. I think because of that, Switch 2 is going to be a very safe console. It is going to involve, reiterating on a lot of these Switch concepts, and people may say, oh, hey, that's a Switch Pro. Well, PlayStation's been doing this for their whole existence. The way they've branded their subsequent consoles, like PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5, it works, right? People know what the next thing is. It's pretty damn clear. PlayStation 5 is PlayStation's 5th generation. So I really think that's how Nintendo should approach it. They need to stop getting weird with the names. Switch U, Switch Advance. No, I don't think any of that's going to work. It's got to be Switch 2, or it's got to be another name. But I think Switch 2 is their best option here. And I think that's an option that they might take, considering how they've branded the Switch. But, yeah, I think they're going to bring the games, and I think they're going to bring big games. I think the only reason Switch 2 hasn't been announced for release yet is that they're trying to get all their ducks in a row. They're trying to get the games that they want to get out. Like, for example, 3D Mario. That's got to be coming with Switch 2. Metroid Prime 4. Animal Crossing, the next one. Mario Kart 9. Some sort of Zelda game like an Ocarina of Time remake or a Minish Cap remake or something. What else could there be? There's a lot that there could be, really. There could be another Kirby game. Man, they got all these big hitters that they could pull out. There is no shot that the Switch 2 flops. People are going to see the games. They're going to be like, yeah, we need this console. And I think the console is going to be reasonably priced comparatively to the economy. I don't think it's going to be $300 or $350. I think it'll be $400 though. It seems like Switch 2 is going to be pretty powerful. It's going to be able to do a lot of good stuff. So $400 is probably going to be a pretty fair price considering, people are paying $350 for the OLED model, right? Furthermore, I think the third-party support for Switch 2 is going to be better. than it was for Switch. Switch had okay third party support, but it wasn't like as much as it could have been, considering the power of the system and the existence of No Switch Pro. But I think games like, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Final Fantasy 15, all this stuff could probably run natively, considering the Switch 2 is going to be as powerful, if not a little more powerful, than a base PS4, but it's also going to implement deep learning super sampling, which will bring its perceived power up to, PS4 Pro to approaching PS5. And considering the leaks we've gotten out of Gamescom, this is probably going to be true, as the Switch 2 was able to run the Matrix Awakens demo with better ray tracing than the PS5. That doesn't mean it's more powerful, it means it's just got better ray tracing, and that should be true considering Nvidia has vastly better ray tracing technology than AMD does. And AMD is what is used in the PS5. But yeah, I think the hardware is going to be there. I think the games are going to be there. Now for the marketing. It's hard to tell how they're going to market this thing, but it could be some weird Nintendo name like Switch U, Switch Advance, Super Switch. It could be one of those, but I really don't think so. I really think they're being careful here. They're gonna treat this like a next generation device, and it's gonna be clearly marketed. I really have a hard time believing that they see what happened with the Wii U and they try any weird name again. I think they just gotta copy Sony here and go with the number convention. And I think it's probably going to be marketed in a fairly short time. Maybe like the same time span as the Switch, if not a shorter time. So I could see it being announced any time really between January and March. I think that's when the system will be announced. More likely February or March. But January still could happen. I think, it'll be marketed accordingly. The Switch will not lose out on many sales because it'll be announced much after the holiday season. I never thought it was going to be announced this year anyway. But, I think the Switch is still going to exist as a budget console when Switch 2 comes out. I think that's important to note. They will have the Switch to fall back on a little bit, like they had the 3DS to fall back on a little bit when the Switch came out. But obviously they didn't need that because Switch, became a massive success. Overall, if they bring the games, they bring the hardware, and it's reasonably priced. And not to mention, they're going to bring even more games when their new development building is done. They're building a second development building that is going to be done in 2028. And man, that's going to bring a lot of games. Obviously, it won't have an immediate impact, but it'll have an impact, 5, 6, 7 years after it's made. And I am just very, very excited to see what's going on with the future of Nintendo. Yeah. That's my thoughts on how Switch 2 is going to perform and what's going to happen around it. And I think it really will be a pretty big success. That's about it. That's it.